My name is Stephen Dobyns, and I'm the current holder of the H. Bruce McKever Chair in Poetry at Georgia Tech. When Thomas Lux invited me to Tech, he also asked me to invite a poet to read during this spring semester. I chose Patricia Smith. Smith is both more than a poet and also exclusively a poet. She's more than a poet in that she has worked as a journalist for over 20 years for such periodicals, papers as the Chicago Sun-Times, the Boston Globe, Ms. Magazine. She has written fiction, drama, and nonfiction. She is presently working on a biography of Harriet Tubman. But she is exclusively a poet because of all of her writing springs from her passion for poetry. Her very sense of language is a poet's sense of language, with its energy and metaphor and complicated rhythms. Smith has an intense need to turn the world into language, as if the world didn't quite exist for her until she could articulate and describe it. Her poems begin at full stride, like a racehorse breaking from a gate, and within a line or two the reader or listener is entirely wrapped up in their world. For generations, poets and critics have argued about where the poem exists, on the page or in the air, as a sculpted sound. It seems obvious that it has to be both. The poem is both marks on a page and a noise, a cry, a performance. In joining the page and the performance, no one does it better than Patricia Smith. Her poems are energized both by her love of the world and her fury toward it, all its beauty, all its injustice. She is totally taken up with articulating her passionate engagement, of translating her passion into language. A few years ago, along with poetry readings and poetry slams, Smith began working with a band, the present Bop Thunderous. Smith would recite or declaim or read or enact. No verb seems quite exact. Lengthy and furious dramatic monologues, and the musicians would combine and converse with the language, would wrap their notes around it. The result for me was startlingly moving and dramatic. It seemed meaningless to attempt to categorize it as pushing the boundaries of language or fiction or performance, but clearly it had its beginnings in a poet's language, and it swept people away. It wasn't as if they were calmly watching something on a stage. The audience became part of the performance. Their critical complacency was overthrown. The intensity and emotion and complication of idea and narrative completely overwhelmed and thrilled them. Won't you please welcome Patricia Smith and Bop Thunderous.
Make love nice and slow. Yeah, cruel little woman, she make love nice and slow. I don't mind that man, but she don't everybody I know. Got a cruel little woman and she make love soft and sweet. Yeah, that cruel little woman, she make love soft and sweet. I don't mind that man, she don't everybody but me. She my cruel little woman, cruel little woman, cruel little bird. She's my cruel little woman. There's that cruel little woman, she wanna make love with me. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry for the delay. Give it up for Miss Patricia Smith. the name. Janet! He rocks the room with it. I should see she was no good for me. I should listen to my friends. I should look deep into her smoky black eyes and walk out on what they told me. Janet! And screaming the name over and over and over like he's purging his belly of bad whiskey. He staggers to the jukebox and plays another long, slow song by a blind black man. Tonight, he's got that run between Moline and Maple. And Janet will sleep curled in a bigger bed, a deep purple gash over her eye. Another man on her mind. Bless them. Bless them as they weep on their own sagging shoulders, rolling the soft syllables of love around in their mouths. Bless them as they bend the bartender's ear with blues she pretends she's never heard, as she nods patiently to every twist of their gut. Bless them as even the shot glasses take on the curves of women. Bless them when the barkeep closes shop and our boys link warmly arms and croon their blues to an amused spoon who bends their hearts until she realizes that only a woman has the balls to break. How's everybody doing? Their sound is okay? We're all set? We're ready to party? Because I feel good. All right. Okay. Now, my favorite segment of the population are old black men. Because you can't get away with shit. You know, they like, they'll tell you the truth, they'll tell you all about yourself. And my favorite old black man of all time is John Lee Hooker. So this is a poem called How to Be a Little Old Lecherous Black Man and Make Lots of Money. Cheating a moment. Hey, y'all. Having a time, find a seat. Baby. Baby, baby. That's all I had. Baby. Baby, why you love me? Why you love me like you do? Everybody say it's all right. It's all right. Look at that, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right when a colored woman, formerly of Allenville, Alabama, now waiting patiently for the motherland, hikes up the sagging thigh bands of Sears' best cinnamon stockings in the middle of Sunday holy rolling and moans, Lord have mercy, when what she truly means is, Lord have mercy. And it's all right how we damn convention and make just the words we need for what we gotta do. It ain't nothing but all right how 2 times in my life, when I was moved to make love to a woman, and the first time I did, and the second time I didn't, and it's all right when I tell you that the second time I didn't is right here in this room, right in the middle of this solid second that's got me testifying this, and let the congregation say, Amen. Amen. Let the poet fix her sinning mouth to say, Lord have mercy. It's all and it's right that the Nigerian women brushed a thick line of Texaco's oil under each eye, warrior warnings, and then they crouched low and sprang their tree trunk bodies, their stout and ashy legs, flailing forearms, their paper banners with words scratched out to be spelled. Give work to our husbands, our fathers, our sons. Give us light and water or pack now. They use the pure and singular force of themselves, their throats, those damnable, glorious throats. You got one of those? Ain't you got one of those? You got one of those? You got one of those throats? Have you used it lately? Have you used yours lately? It's all right that the air outside shimmers with unproven ice, and that the city wind snakes through our cages of bone, and that all of it reminds us that we are dying by inches, by irretrievable seconds, and that we best stop and bay at the moon tonight, just long and loud enough to leave the sugar stench of our stanzas on the air, just loud and long enough to make everyone who sniffs us snap their heads back, frown sharply, look ahead to where they've been. You be ever proud of your funky self, for you are a poet, and that means that you have died and lived to tell about it. It's all right. Yes, it truly is that marriages end with faint sounds, unrecognizable as love, that old ladies with electric eyeshadow sit all night on the bar stool closest by the door, that real blues live so far back in the jukebox, even the damn quarters won't reach anymore. It's all right that those blues repeat without repent. I woke up this morning to the sound of a slamming door. I said I woke up this morning to the sound of a slamming door. I guess that means my baby won't be coming back no more. Please do excuse the blues for being common, for being irreparably colored, for forever talking out the side of its mouth about the last sound it heard, what it ain't got, what it need, for wondering if the exit door is at the bottom of that shot glass. No, a matchbox cannot hold your clothes, never could, but you could pull an actual match out of that sucker, strike it on your shoe sole, and burn the world clean. It's definitely all right if a child dies somewhere. If a curly-top charmer is stuffed headfirst into a trash bin, if her wrist is shackled to a radiator, if mama went dancing days ago and left dry cereal in a bowl on the floor, if cigarette burns are raised up and white-rimmed around the edges, if a girl is spirited from her bed when the night is merely navy blue, if their ribs are obvious, if rotting teeth simply snap, if they wait their turn for sweet drowning, if their hands are plunged into boiling water, if the doorknob won't turn, if their calls are never answered. It's all right what Bobby Womack taught us, what Shaka said, those stories our grandmamas braided into our hair. It's all right what Hair Rep and Clairol did, how our hips swelled to feel that hula hoop. It's an honor to flaunt the hard stone seeds that Double Dutch planted in our calves. It's okay, Smokey, that you told them fairy tales and sent us off on that search for that white horse and that half-white boy riding it. It's all right that I thought the baby in Ooh Baby Baby was me, and it wasn't. It's sweet that remembering, shoving that peppermint stick down the center of that sour pickle, making sandwiches of Wonder Bread and hog's head cheese, standing in black on an assembly line to scrape the scream from those children. It's all right that Mama rode the bus up from Alabama and that Daddy rode the bus up from Arkansas, and I'm the only souvenir they got. Just call me Chicago, the northern bloodline, the city of cold shoulders. We brown girls, we first generation brick, garbed in Daycron and pink sweat socks. We did the best we could. We went the only way we could. Our rusty weather vane was adorned with the iron torso of Gwendolyn Brooks. It's all right that we vanished. It's a miracle that we're still here. A girlfriend of mine was having an affair with a married man. And she called me one day and she said, I've had it. I'm going to call his wife. I said, this is a bad idea. Calm down, cork the wine bottle. Let me come get you, we'll go for a ride. But no, she's going to call the wife. So, you know, you can't tell a poet anything because we will use your life for a poem. So the minute she, I was just like, whoa, okay. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm like, all right, so let me imagine what the phone call would be like. Like, what would she say to this woman when this woman picked up the phone? Somebody been in this situation over there? Somebody's like, who told you? So, you know, so that's what this poem is about. I need sound effects like a ringing song.
Don't you know
walks in on wishbone lettuce, smelling like hot sauce and black pepper, bringing me blues bound up like roses every Thursday night around this time. Your man brings me sweet bread and fried corn, feeds me like an animal from his fingers, tames me like an animal with his hips. Your man comes in sweating that blue collar and singing those lies, those wash away dreams. I wait for his mouth, the mercy circle. I wait for his mouth, the mercy circle. He neatly arranges the gasping of my skin, leaves me gentle and crazed on a trembling bed. Your man's loving leaves marks like drum beats, disturbances on brown skin stretched across a circle of bone. I carved his coming out of a mojo moonlight out of what you told me about the voodoo in his finger. He says, bitch, lie still. And I do. He says, squeeze harder. And I want to. Your man hurls light against my skin and forgets your name, if that's what I need. Yeah, your man is your man. But he visits me sometimes. He rocks the house sometimes. He shakes it up sometimes. He makes it right. All the time. It's called Interlude, and I just have so much fun doing this, so this is a good one. I'll just say title. You're a junkie just like I am. After we've dumped your husband in the Louvre's cafe to sip the steaming tea and chew on his poetry, we're off like schoolgirls, screeching in duet, dazzled by the bright eternal gasp of ancient things. We've got no business here, homegirl and compañera. We've got no business closing our mouths around this sharp, exquisite language or savoring the sweet tongue squeeze of pastries, shining cakes, and shady chocolates. We're a simpler stock, city and country dust, collard greens, moon pies, bullet holes, and basement slogans. We are shamelessly American, rough street girls with rusty knees, the flip side of cocky Parisian whisk with slim cashmere coats the color of tobacco. Girlfriend, you and I are too much screen for this place, but you're a junkie just like I am. Too long denied access to official beauty, we walk these streets with our mouths open and faces tilted up, swallowing everything, swallowing it all, much too much scenery and sound for our thin American throats. We gawk at cathedrals with their gargoyles bleached to an eerie snarl by bright slashes of moon. Say goodbye when we mean yes. Good morning when we mean how much. Ask for bread when we need the toilet. We are amazed that no one is asking for all of this back, that we are allowed to bask in this city's light. I can still hear my mama, as plain and practical as a cast iron skillet. Child, you can stop all that foolishness over there in some France. We don't know nothing of nobody. Ain't no black folks over there no how. But I know you, old friend, with your bright burnished tangle of hair and deep laugh, and right now these halls belong to us. There are bad girls loose in the mood. Girls soft as gunshots. Girls nourished and fueled by silvers, silks, and the stone gaze of Napoleon. We laugh at the smashed noses of Egyptian rulers, stare at the tiny mummified feet of a young girl, mistake Goya for Gauguin, and and rub what surfaces we can, including the marble cots of towering deities. When we say things like, you know, I saw it on a postcard once, or do you know how old this thing is? How can the world help but love us? We would give Venus our arms. After 8 hours, clicking our hungry heels and snapping illicit flash photos in dark halls brimming with ancient music, we finally find the Mona Lisa, alone, caged and aseptic behind that glass every woman wears, and we wonder how best to read her, knowing she's a junkie just like we are. She longs for our wild voices, our naive, accidental beauty. She's aching to ditch that frame and skip these hellholes with the homegirls, mistake the obscene for the exquisite, and gaze at unsolved mysteries that just for once are not her own. My son was in jail for 2.5 years, and I wanted to write about when he first got out, and I went to hug him, that his form had changed. He was totally different. It was a very jolting thing, because it's a natural thing for a mother to hug her child, but and I started thinking about what had happened to him outwardly and inside during that time. So that's where this poem comes from. Who was that smoldering child with his bumpy, dreaded crown and drip sex walk, slouching denims with the ass backing his knees, unlaced Adidas flopping and swallowing his socks? Who was that rumbling throat, silverfish smile, long ago gang love burned into left bicep, the result of alliance demanded in a heartbeat, 2 looping circles, Latin kings, he told me. And I saw then how much of the fool was in him, how long his search had been for a real pumping heart to guide him. Who was that wisp of concrete steam, that bobbing Adam's apple and carved chest wall, that boy who muttered, I guess I don't care, with such conviction that I could not recognize him as something I began. I could not find my signature on him anywhere, so I felt perfectly justified in asking, who was that dull blade wearing the name that I gave my son? This is not an abstract rant, but the story of Damon, my errant angel, my son, who phones from bondage to say that a cellmate plans to attack him with a sock crammed with dead batteries. This is the definition of justice somewhere. I sit home and imagine the carnage, picture dreams spilling from his head. This is a collect call from an inmate at Middlesex Correctional Facility. Mama, I'm scared. Your conversation may be monitored. Mama, I'm sick. I cough all night. My house is on fire and my baby is in the house. My house is on fire and my baby is. My house is on fire and my children, your children are in the house of correction. They are lined up, linked, muscle and sweet sinew, in gray jumpsuits the color of storm. Down the line with me now. Murder, yes. Child rape, yes. Possession of a barely controlled substance, yes, yes, yes. Violating probation, yes. All our baby boys, hair kinked, locked or blade banished, street strut tired now, cupping the receiver with calloused hands. Mama, mama, I'm sick. I cough all night. Your call may be monitored. Visits between 6 to 9 Saturday night. I kiss the glass separating us and sense his stutter through his bow legs and leaking laughter, all buried beneath all that new muscle. And how do I listen when he says, Mom, I think they're gonna try to kill me here. Somewhere on the long play there's a rhyme for that. Somewhere along the road there's a sign for that. Somewhere in the Bible there's a rule against that. This conversation may be recorded, but only repeated once. My house is on fire and my children are in the house. My house is on fire and my children are in the house. My house is on fire and my children. On, if you will, to the woman who is my son's baby's mother. That's it in the latest lingo, isn't it? I'm so far behind ways to say I spread my legs and found love. And her million sisters, tight-bellied and double-wing cracked, cancerous smokes teetering on the lip of their lives, trapped as soon as they breathe. screams and singing, popped our hips into clubs while television blurred their soul, and radio taught them the boom boom rock and the knock and the boots, their hell's most valuable skill. Escape is improbable, they are chained to each other, and even the chains are on fire. What sparked the flame? Who lit the match? What sparked the flame? Who lit the match? What sparked the flame? Who lit the match? What sparked that flame? Who lit the match? My house is on fire and my children are in the house. My house is on fire. My children are in the house. My house is on fire and my son is in that house. The house is on fire. Our children are in the house. I do not care. Who brings the water? They call it jail muscle. You are impossibly huge on top, your biceps ballooning, your head looks so small, teetering on your neck. I have to pull in a strengthening breath before I can attempt my arms around you, but I cannot link my fingers behind your back. I wonder what lives there in that small span I cannot reach. I wonder if that's where yesterday is or was. Upon closer inspection, I see the construction that was ignored or abandoned, the petulant pout of your belly, stringy calves, a tooth that aches because it is empty inside. You are no longer carved of me. You are huff and puff, repetitions and iron. All of you is the result of boredom. After 2 years, I stand across a room from you, weighing the option to touch or not touch, and that first hug is awkward, a complete and utter mess because you have so boldly outgrown the arc of my arms. You speak in single syllables as if you are learning language from its very first page. Huh? Yeah, I guess so. No, you see how big my arms are? I'm a fool to your fool. Yes, I see. You are so big, I don't know how to hold you. You've exploded, gotten so wide, veins have burst beneath your skin. You look as if you are straining to become a wall. I imagine you somewhere in there, flailing, screaming my name, struggling through blood and fat and gristle toward my failed embrace, needing me as much as I need him. I mean, you. I recognize sections of you, smile cast downward. Ma, remember when we used to watch the Transformers? Remember that first book I ever read? You still have it? Remember how hard it used to be to comb my hair? Remember how I used to have to wear a jacket and tie to school? Remember that time I went skiing when that famous man took my picture? Remember when I got beat up that time? Remember? 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 Let me in somewhere! Ask me to shave your head, to sweep hot lather on with my fingers and hear the blade scrape you clean. Allow me to touch my lips to the marks of explosion on your skin. Make me read you our story, full of its triumphs and bullets and transformers and stumbling dance and coughing into the phone and the girl who wanted to be your sister. And at the end of that story, let us be standing here, my arms around you, my fingers straining to meet behind your back. I will never keep trying to complete this holding. I need to be completely around you, Damon, so all of you is within the mother circle of me. And giving you up to this world is a choice I have yet to make.
You're well prepared for your what do you want to do?
Actually, the reason they're doing that is sometimes when you lace pieces together, and you get pulled into one, and you can't jump right out of it. So I just asked them to do a little something so I could sort of regroup. That's why I hesitate.
Patricia, I think this is the first song you ever heard me sing.
Uh-oh. You guys don't mind if I sit down for just a second? You're good.
Got me a sweet little lady. I love the way she spread her wings. Got me a sweet little lady. I love the way she spread her wings. Every time she wraps her wings about me, I get joy. I get joy in everything. Ask my baby for a name. She gave me a $20 bill. Ask my baby for a name. She gave me a $20 bill. It's for a small drink of liquor, and she gave me a whiskey still. If my baby should leave, I do believe I would die. If my baby should leave, I do believe I would die. If you're gonna leave me, sweet little lady, baby, please, baby, please, tell me why. I got a sweet little lady. I love the way, I love the way she spread her wings. I got a sweet little lady. I love the way she spread her wings. Every time she wrapped her wings around me, I get joy. I get joy in everything.
Never seen Patti LaBelle in concert. Now sometimes she gets into it and she gets her foot in her shoe, goes out of the ring. That happened to me when I was doing this poem once. It's like I was like, woo, my shoe went. And it's embarrassing to ask for your shoe back, you know. break? Thank you all. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Georgia Tech. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you, nameless people I don't know yet. Thank you, friends that I just kind of came up to me and introduced themselves and said I knew you like 10 years ago. Thank you all. We're very, very happy to be at Atlanta. We're glad to come back anytime. We're going to do. A poem that I wrote for poets. I've had a couple of really down times in my life. There was always poets who brought me out of it. So this is a tribute to everybody who has ever attempted to write a poem, thought about it, have poetry in your heads, whoever you are. We're all poets. Some of us, something's clicked loose in our lives to make some of us put it on paper, but we all have that ability. So it's so this is for all of you and the poetry that runs your life. But you have poetry, you say. And if you can tell me what poetry is, where the line is drawn between the beauty and the breathing of breath into something to make it beautiful, I will claim poetry as my own. Poets, this poem wears all of your names. When I deserved to die, your mojo worked my last nerve and exposed it to the open air. You engaged my throat, taught me the uncertain hurt of singing my own songs. You flooded my inbox with attitude until I was mad enough to wrap my wounds in you. And you said, Patricia, come to us if the world bleeds through. You drove in from the city and backhanded me with every word I have heard you stutter. Your clunky rhymes, your in no place but in your face couplets, your falterings, your leaps for the sky, your works in progress. You jumped up and down on my heart screaming, beat, beat. When I was wrong, you yelled it, beat, beat. When there was nothing I could do but be a liar, flat under everyone, you angled your hard heels toward my chest until the irritation warmed that dead muscle and pulled it out onto the dance floor. We click our shoes on rickety platforms, slap flat palms against hot mics to test the sizzle, and we talk it, and each syllable is a stroke. Damn, girl, damn, that's beautiful. It is beautiful inside me and beyond us. We are butt naked except for words we have chosen to define a moment that has truly passed, that can never be recaptured. We are the worst cliché. Nobody understands us. We are vague and miraculous, taught to give voice to our sins. We stand before the clink-glass congregation and howl and yammer and screech. We let the world lay its hands on us. I have fixed my mouth around all of your stories. I have lied my way into and out of them because that is what we do. I lost the line. Somewhere I lost the line that separates the beautiful from the strokes that make things beautiful. You found that line and erased it for good, knowing what poems would be born from this. Poets, only your communal wail made me want to not die, not to die. Your hands are all over me, warm, clinging, small explosions on skin that I no longer believe to hold all of me inside. But you took a deep, deep breath. You overpronounced the word human and laid me down to sleep inside the bed those two syllables made. No one understands the religion that began us, that sustains and heals us. Poets, flawed and fallible, halting and doubtful, elegant, electric. I am growing again in your grasp. I can never love me like this. I used to do a residency in Florida with 6th graders, and I come bounding in. I'm here to teach you poetry, and the area I was in Liberty City, and there was a high incidence of drug use, so a lot of the children had lost parents or siblings to AIDS, and so I come in, I'm here to teach you poetry, and they're looking at me like, well, that's all well and good, but how are you going to make our lives better? And there was a little girl there. Her mother had died 2 weeks before, and she was already back in school. And the teacher was telling me, well, she hasn't talked about it. But she came up and she said, my father was
killed when I was about 20 years old, and I have poems about that. So she came up and she said, you know, I need to write a poem about my mother. Can you help me remember my mother? So I do this poem because we need to remember how powerful words are, and they could take us from one place in our head to a safer place, and that there are a lot of children out there who just don't know that they have that power. And instead, you know, they fight, they knife each other, you know, and we need to early on tell them, look, you know, look at the force that you have inside your head. So this is for the little girl, Nicole, and it's for the 6th grade class at Lily C. Evans Elementary School in Dade County, Miami, which they made me promise to say every time I did their poem. I am astonished at their mouthful names. Lacanicia, Chevalane, DeLeo, Fumaleo, their ragged rebellions and lip gloss pouts, and all those pants drooped as drapery. I rejoice when they kiss my face, whisper wet and urgent in my ear, make me their obsession because I have brought them poetry. They shout me raw, bruise my wrist with their pulling, and brashly claim me as mama as they cradle my head in their little laps, waiting for new words to grow in my mouth. You, you, you. Angry, jubilant, weeping poets. We are all saviors, reluctant hosannas in the limelight. But you knew that, didn't you? So let us bless the 6th grade class. 40 cracking voices, 40 nappy heads, and all of them raise their hands when I ask. They have all seen the Reaper, grim in his heavy robe, pushing the button for the Dead Project elevator, begging for a break at the corner pawn shop, cackling wildly in the back pew of the Baptist church. I ask the death question, and 40 fists punch the air. Me! Me! And O'Neill, matchstick crack child, watched his mother's body become a claw. And 9-year-old Tico Jefferson, barely big enough to lift the gun, fired a bullet into his throat when Mama bended his back with a lead pipe. Tamika cried into a sofa pillow when Daddy blasted Mama into the north wall of their cluttered one-room apartment. Danya's cousin, gone in a drive-by. Dark window, click, click, gone, says Danya, her tiny finger a barrel, the thumb a hammer. I am astonished at their losses. And yet when I read a poem about my own hard-eyed teenager, Jeffrey asks, is he dead yet? Cannot be comprehended. An 18-year-old still pushing and pulling his own breath. And 40 faces pity me, knowing that I will soon be as they are, numb to our bloodied histories, favoring the Reaper with a thumbs up and a wink, hearing the question, and shouting, me, Miss Smith, I know somebody dead. Can poetry hurt us, they ask me, before crawling into my words to sleep? I love you, Nicole says. Nicole wearing my face, pimples peppering her nose, and she is as black as angels are. Nicole's braids kissed with match flame to seal them. Can you teach me to write a poem about my mom, Miss Smith? I mean, you write about your daddy, and he dead. Can you teach me to remember my mama? A teacher tells me this is the first time Nicole has admitted that her mother is gone. Murdered by slim silver needles and a stranger rifling through her blood, the virus pushing her skeleton through for Nicole to see. And now this child with rusty knees and mismatched shoes sees poetry as her scream and asks me for the words to build her mother again, replacing the voice, stitching on the lost flesh. So poets, as we take the stage, as we flirt and sin and rejoice behind microphones, remember Nicole. She knows that we are here now, and she is an empty vessel waiting to be filled. And she is waiting, and she is waiting, and she waits. You know, vocal into territory? You're gonna do some vocal? Okay. Ooh. I want the jazz boys to build me a fire. I want to stand in the center of it and crown my own self queen of that hot territory. I want them to build me a new skin of downbeats and hesitations and rump-diddy-rump-diddy-rump-rump-rump-diddy-rums. I want to call that new skin home. I want you to walk inside, take off your coat, pull loose your tie, and complain out loud about the steam. I want the jazz boys to get nasty and necessary. They've been in my house. They know the drill. Sorry, baby, I'm fresh out of ice. You got to drink it warm. No, I can't turn up the air. The damn thing's busted. You know, I would get you something cool if I could. But right now, it seems that we are all in flames. I feel so good. I want the drummer to staccato me, to hand me red hot red bricks so that we can build this house slowly, with purpose, fascinated by the blisters on our hands. A house with no windows, a house with no doors. I don't want to get out. I don't need to see out. I've been a good long girl. I've been a good girl for a good long time. I don't want to get out. I don't need to see out. I've been a good girl for a good long time. I want to get all the explosions that I deserve. The drummer may look innocent, but he's got colossal forearms and he plays with sticks. Drummers pretend to be helping. I'll just be here in the background, baby, if you need me. But come on, drummer man, fess up. Somewhere along the line, you tapped your way through a closed door, and now my heart will not beat unless you feed it a rhythm. You must have held a match to it and threatened to teach it how to break. You know, drummers are fixated on friction, steady trying to build them fires inside where you can't see them, trying to burn shit and not leave traces. Oh, rat-a-tat-tat, darling, I heard about what happened, but, I was busy that day. You know how it is. The world got no downbeat without me. Grab me a glass of ice water, won't you? I know you know better. You've been in my house. When the last time you seen ice? You better get to crawled on your belly so you can breathe. It takes a mix of indigo and kick-ass. It takes heart crack and down times. Misery in them makes lights that spark, slams that heat on, sizzles that air, and they blow it all with all that's in them till we listen with all that's in us, and it singes our skin. Backhand slaps us, whirls us round, and now it lay me down to sleep. I want the jazz boys to craft that inferno, set the ocean on fire tonight, laugh as it tries to put its own self out. Bassmen are pyromaniacs, devious little madmen who get off on burning the tips of their own fingers. Extra points if you can make smoke rise from your riff. If you can set dogs 4 miles away to howling because they feel that thing you do in the rock bottom of their bellies and it sends their fever way up. Now, for the first time ever, I will reveal what happens to a woman when the bass man's fingers slip down that thick string. There's a teeny spark that catches right there. And imagine if a forest fire, the kind that leaves history flat and ashy, if one of those ripped through you but stopped to sing to you first. So you didn't know or care to know that you were being destroyed. Oh, there's snaky bastards, sneaky bastards down there in the gut level messing around with things that ain't been regulated. He got his finger on the silly string. All he got to do is pluck. That's why the girls say to them, you make me want to douse myself with gasoline and burn till the smoke swells sweet. I want the jazz boys to build me a fire. I want to stand in the center of it and crown my own self queen of that hot territory. Put a tinfoil crown on my head. What you wanna do? I want my house to flicker, to be a dangerous light for someone. I can hear screams, but I can't see anything. There are no windows. There are no doors. I can't see in. I can't even get in to save myself. Ask me and I'll tell you that ain't nothing pure inside me. That's why I am always running a fever. The roof is on fire, but the spigots all spit water with flames already in them. And after all, we would do well not to douse this miracle. Where else but here can you build and burn at the same time? You know, I heard once that all sin lives in the throat. And every time we open our mouths, a little bit of it rushes out and changes the world. Singing about things gone wrong and hoping they stay wrong so we can keep singing. I want these bad boys to sing me to sleep, knowing I may never wake up. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the fire grows wild and creeps along the floorboards, up the walls, until the ceiling droops and falls. Amen. You know, Phil only know one song, but it's a long one. He can't stop no heart from breaking. He can't start no war. He can't fix what hurts in you, but he can burn it all down so you can start over. I want the jazz boys to breathe on me, sizzle and incinerate, singe and scorch, blacken and char, crinkle and curl, heat my skin, make me throw off that nappy chenille spread and thrash about. Let's get my hair to shooting sparks. I want to be fireworks at home in my blazing kitchen, Donna Reed with a matchstick head, in a house with no windows, in a house with no doors, drinking Tabasco straight from the bottle, living in a house that's getting smaller by the minute. I got 911 calling me for help. Patricia Ann, we are tired of the straight and narrow. Teach us to be our own tragedy. Teach us to be our own downfall. Teach us to burn. If it is not getting nasty hot in here, if you have not clutched the possibilities of your own ashes, then we have not done our job. Have you ever had 103-degree temperature and felt your own core? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. So let us call this the orchestral overture. The preheat oven to 450. The blow hot air into the tube till it pops. I see you craning your neck to see what lies beneath what I'm showing you, and skin peels off so much easier when it's warm. Me and my jazz boys, we come together just to burn like this. Just to build something that will conjure scars. Just to build something that you can't get out of. I don't know where this came from. It is thoroughly appreciated. Boom. Okay. Everybody still okay? Yeah. Having a good time? Good. Thanks. Pray done, Chef? Okay. I'm throwing stuff all over the floor. Ain't but one song ever been written. And as it turns out, it didn't even need words. All we require is the shake and the shimmy, the wobble and the wheeze, the bone and the breath, that simple in and out that's never been given a proper name. What you do with this song is not as important as what it chooses to do with you. You are slave to deep bell, conch shell, goat nails, and the drum's tattooed skin. Your body was crafted for this, toes that ache to tap, shoulders that hunch and fall, hips that are fluid because, well, the music demands it. What's the name of this song, you ask? What do I call it? How can I stop it from having its way with me? You see, when you walked in here, it was already too late. The beat had begun before it began. It buried its hook deep in you. Fighting it is quite unnecessary. Instead, break funk down to its lowest common denominator. Bead, cymbal, grunt, heartbeat. If you need a name, give it yours. They say that black people are linked crazy to the drum, not the prescribed rat-a-tat that sets time for some poet's rhyme, but that deep-throated language of the madman, that rumble sparked by pulse. They say colored folks don't know how not to answer when the drum comes calling. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta know right now what is fueling these hips. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta blow chill lines through this glitter brass. All of our breath gathered for that question, toot, flute, and spittle. Lord, could this be the way a woman moans? The bass line, the bottom line, the undercurrent of everything, the back door of every place. Shame on you if you think you had a life without it. Yeah, you have heard this song before. It's the womb song, the first soundtrack. It's what you have breathed. It is what you have eaten. It is everything you have seen. And here, you have the architects, the purveyors of root and conjure. Lay back. Let them lie to you. Boom, boom. Thank you. Okay. This is for Dizzy Gillespie. It was never control we were after. Jazz, by ragged definition, pump-started its own heart, sensed the possibilities of chaos, long before it became brown baby lullaby, the ripples that pulse on the surface of whiskey. Jazz demanded the unleashing of so many souls, turned order into impetuous melody, chords which blew spit at their captors, and there was nowhere to run, and even fewer places to hide. What gave birth to jazz? What moist, constricted passage it struggled from? Who held it aloft, slapped that newborn ass, and sparked the glorious screaming? Doesn't matter. What matters is fluid lines shredding into scat, and us owning that sweetness. What matters is cigarette-thin men swearing at their reflections in the bar top. What matters is sugar browns hitching up homemade skirts and pounding holes into the dance floor, out past curfew and tired of asking the damn time. What bops? The bonnet of bebop, curses swirling from the mouth of a sax, moans trapped in cool column of clarinet, the blues twisting the guitar's string throat, and mojo rising up from the brown, battered skin of drums. There is growling in all of this. A warning for you to stop and shout hallelujah from wherever you are. A warning to stop and shout praise to all that is cool and raunchy. A warning for you to be thankful for complication. And let somebody else answer when the disbelieving ask, who is Jazz's mama? What ripe woman body curved and struggled and pushed that hard-headed boy into the light? And somewhere, the bell of a horn curved up. Because it was not about control. It was never about maybe brown babies in sequins and hardback chairs. Jazz was never capture or compliance. It was all about the possibilities of chaos, and he never bothered straightening the bell on that horn, because why shouldn't heaven get the gospel too? What he blew upset us, soured our gentle stomachs. What did we need with music that thrived in blue light, music with rumbling in its feet? We begged it to go away, tried to ban it on the airwaves, but as usual, the heat in our hips spoke otherwise. Didn't want to do, didn't know how to do, didn't never want to do without it. Those cocky, seamless blasts that rock us to rolling, because it was not about control. It was never about control. It was about the bell of a horn curved up. Not Jazz's mama, but her son, all rough chin and shark skin, a black beret on cool kinks, never a note to apologize for, and such outrageous cheeks. You hear me? Cheeks. I cannot believe I just did that.
Woke up this morning in this crazy world. I'm all alone, I pray. not the child, not the child that I used to be. I know I'm not the man that you want to see. This truth has become my reality. Look what you done. Look what you done. Crazy world. Crazy world. Crazy world. Crazy world. Crazy world. Crazy world.
To the woman not trying to fly, who fell with her legs closed, arms pressed against the front of her body while primly clutching her purse. September 11th, 2002. 1. You didn't topple, cartwheel, or plummet. You firmly believed that your descent, while swift, would end tenderly, and that immediately after, there would be things to attend to. While others fell past you, screeching for mercy and splayed like stars, you aimed the pinpoint of your body toward a future that included checkbooks, snapshots of squirming children, a scarlet stump of lipstick. There would be need for those things again. In your keenly ordered mind, this vertical drop was merely inconvenience. You didn't hurdle or flail or pinwheel. Your eyes straight ahead, your sweet drumming heart struggling toward a fuss, you seemed most concerned with decorum, the proper way for a lady to manage adversity. I watch you fall and ready myself. I've been called a lady too. I will be here to help you to your feet and brush strands of the sky from your eyes. 2. These are difficult days for poets. We have at our disposal every letter of every syllable of every word ever written or spoken in any language. This supply falls short when I attempt to scribble the word fly and discover that it can no longer conjure sound. Somewhere below the line of the realized earth lie thousands of sentences with their periods on fire. A sentence that cannot end itself will forever search for what it could possibly mean. There is the man with his skin fused to his shirt, hands, shoes, and cell phones, sudden gifts in the grit and rubble. A blue Toyota Camry sitting for 9 days at the train station lot in Tarrytown. The have you seen him, her, them, he was, she is, brown eyes, slight lip tattoo. Thousands of mothers suddenly convinced that their children could fly, and most certainly did. Poets can set monstrous eyes deep in the chubby faces of angels. I can roughly grab the shoulders of a stout woman plastering yet another flyer to yet another pole, and I can shout, your daughter cannot hear you calling. She is not lost and thriving in some pocket of air deep beneath us. She is dead. And I can hear the mother pulling deep from her ravaged soul, deep from her unwashed, deep from her weary and spitting and screaming, who in the hell do you think you are? You are not God. I can dream that I'm God. I'm a poet. But when I am real again and dawn demands hard copy of the stories I've written in the night, the words are limp and breathless on the page. Their life lies far below the surface of me. They can't hear me coming, and there is no air. 3. When the city is, when we are, when our hearts, when the world is back to normal, when we can fly, drive, walk, entertain without believing that it is possible to die from it, when we stop looking at every brown skin, silk hair, straggly beard, turban with slit eyes, when everyone who hates us and everyone we hate is dead, when the war is over and our boys, husbands, sons, brothers, sisters are back home on this precious soil, when what I'm sorry. When the rubble that was the towers is gone and the ghosts have slithered away, when it's okay to get sputtered up about a sale at Macy's or shark attacks as a continuing phenomenon, when it's okay for someone sitting next to you at a bar, yes, you have permission to get shit-faced again, when it's okay for someone sitting next to you at a bar to say, hey, has anyone looked at Gary Condit for this World Trade Center thing? I mean, it certainly got the focus off of him. He could have pulled that intern's head out of his freezer and said, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, and no one would have had time for him. When it's okay to laugh at that, when you can listen to this poem and feel removed from it, as if the things within are merely things happening to someone else and you are an observer, damned if there's not a gap in the skyline, when you can finally smell air and not smell them, when you are once again counting calories and comparing light beers and not caring if Whitney Houston is hooked or unhooked, when things are back to what they were before they weren't anymore. My neighbor will finally pull the American flag from the tip of his pickup truck's antenna and stare at me in silence, forgetting that he had called me sister, high-fived me, talked about black and white united against a common foe. When the wind comes when we believe that there is no longer a foe, there must be a foe. There must always be a foe. That's the moment my neighbor will catch my eye, and he'll hold it, and he will think to himself, what in the hell are you looking at, nigger? 5. My granddaughter is obsessed with the drawing of stars. Each point must be perfect, meticulously measured, twinkling beyond all reason. We have experimented with the most efficient ways to manufacture whole crayoned parades of starlight. We fill entire pages with nighttime skies where no fiery wink is allowed to flaw. Why are you so worried about how the stars look, I ask? Grandma, she says in that way she has that makes me feel feeble and clueless. A star has got to be perfect before God lets it fall. I first met Phil and started working with these guys. There's a club in Cambridge, Mass. called the Cantab. And the Cantab is like a really funky little bluesy place, but they have a open jam upstairs where you can come in and you can sign up, and anybody who wants to sing can take the stage for 5 minutes. And that's basically how I met Phil. I heard him singing and said, oh, that must be the jukebox. And I came up and it was him. I'm prefacing this because there's probably, and the jam is presided by a little guy. His name is Little Joe Cook. Little Joe Cook was famous for one song. If you listen to oldies radio 24 hours a day, you will hear this song. It is called Peanuts. It goes, peanuts, peanuts. All right. So Little Joe takes the stage and he sings Peanuts for like 45 minutes. Peanuts the ballad, Peanuts the remix, Peanuts part, remember James Brown had part 1 and 2? Peanuts part 1 and 2, you know, Peanuts disco version, you know, it's just like, that's the whole thing. And then, if you get, you know, start feeling your groove and you want to start singing Peanuts with Little Joe, he will stop and stare you down and say, no, Peanuts, you don't do this. And Little Joe, he's like 80, right? He's like 80, he wears like suits that are like lemon colored, he drives this big Cadillac, it's just, yeah. So you need to kind of know that about the Tab. And also that there are a lot of really cool old bluesmen who hang around there. And so you've got this kind of mix of cultures because the Cantab is close to Harvard. So you get these, you get students. You get students coming in, you know, and you got these grizzled old bluesmen. So there's kind of like this cultural clash. And I observed Phil one night talking to one of these bluesmen, and I thought, what has happened to bring these two people together? And this is kind of cool and wonderful. So this is called Night at the Tab. And you needed to know that to kind of get into this groove, I think. She's dancing. Oh, you can. No, you. Okay, come on. Just sing. Just sing.
Well, baby, I declare you sure look fine.
Thank you. Yeah, it's on, right?
I said, ooh, baby, I declare you sure look fine.
Can you hear him in the back? Where are my kids? Y'all hear him?
It's a girl like you bound to make me lose my mind.
Sounds like her to me.
I said, baby, when you walk, you shake just like a willow tree. Yeah. Baby, when you walk, you know you shake just like a willow tree. It's a girl like you bound to make a fool out of me. That's all right.
Oh, come on now.
Let me love you, babe. Let me love you, babe. Let me love you, little girl. Let me love you, baby. Let me love you, baby, till your girl love dies, baby.
One more.
I said, baby, I declare you sure look fine. Come on, clap. Baby, I declare you sure look fine. It's a girl like my mind.
Bow.
When it's time to change. Anyone see that Brady?
Let me Oh, I'm sorry. It was one of those nights at the Cantab, rhythmless tourists thick as soup. But the regulars found each other without even trying because there's never any place else they want to be. Some folks need the blues, require them, wouldn't shake them if they could. Besides, in a place like the Cantab, you can spot the day trippers, the dabblers in woe from the Ivy League. Hey, it's the blues, man, the real thing with black men and everything. Because they can't seem to get the range of the place. They keep bumping into the bar, stubbing their toes on the edge of the stage, knocking over drinks with flailing arms because, usually the world opens up to let them through. But the tab don't need to be any bigger than it is. All the rotten luck, dashed fortunes, and cheap twangy guitars that need to fit will fit. This place is home to folks who are breaking the rhythm, residents of the bottom line. You don't go there looking for nobody to love you, because, face it, nobody loves you. So you might as well drown it, deny it, or sing about it. And what better place than that hole in the wall of a vanquished hood, cramped and sweat slick with its middle finger thrust upward, and Judy, the bartender, woman of gravel and growl, is pouring liquid kisses behind the bar. It was an irregular night, with little Joe Cook, the soulful gnome of love, flirting boldly with every skirt walking, pretending that he remembered what women are for. And he swaggered and hobbled and sat down to catch his breath and swaggered and kissed a girl on her cheek with his mouth wide open and sat down and wheezed a little and stood up to swagger again. And, what do you expect? The Peanut King is pushing 80 harder than he's ever pushed anything. Bluesmen get old just like everybody else, but dying don't occur to them. They just sip a little bit more heat and wear cologne and drape strands of gold around their withered necks and talk shit with women like there's no tomorrow. And when you think about it, there just might not be. You ask any guy, especially any old black guy, and he will tell you, the dick always works in theory. I ain't dead, so it must not be dead either. It was hot and cramped and stinky and crowded, a sweet night and jam night where anybody could take the stage and kick it if they've got the nerve and know the words and get there in time, and if little Joe, the emperor of agony, gives them the nod. It's his jam night after all, and nobody steps to the stage, talent or not, unless they, in some form or another, find the stomach to kiss his caved-in little ass. The selection process is a mystery, of course. If the corn on little Joe's baby toe on his left foot throbs 3 times when he shakes your hand, you can sing that night. If he doesn't like that you are wearing the same lemon yellow fake silk double-breasted ensemble he had his eye on and damn it was about to buy, it doesn't matter if you're B.B. King, you're going home for that night. If his could it be dyed afro droops on the left side between 5 and 5:17 on a day with a U in it, and it's also a day when he found salt pork in his collards and a nickel on a sidewalk in Dedham, you can sing If You Crawl Into the Tab on Your Knees and kiss his pinky ring with enough passion to get yourself arrested in 5 states, at least one of them, Alabama. If you want to sing at the Cantab on Jam Night with Little Joe presiding, you got to know the rules. And there are no rules. Then again, you could be Phil, who acts like he doesn't care. Phil used to have really long hair, you need to know that. Who doesn't look anything like anybody with anything to be blue about. He got that long hippie hair framing his face or pulled back to reveal little cherub cheeks and a whole lot of forehead. He's partial to wearing rock boy black and fading into the backdrop to watch the proceedings, steering clear of the tourists, and you wouldn't notice him at all, but little Joe feels a vibe in the room when Phil's there that won't let him rest. It's a rumble in his little old gut, something disturbing and undeniable, a ripple in the force. And for a reason he doesn't even understand, little Joe relents. He lets the white kid have the stage. And Lord, that's where we find Phil, singing the room quiet. He wails and whispers and makes folks shake their heads in disbelief, but it's the old blues guys, the ones who've been dipping into that same little bottle of Old Spice since 1967, who shake their heads and go, yeah, yeah. And on that sweet and hot and crowded night, Phil stopped and flicked the sweat from his soul and sat down in a chair near the front of the stage and watched some hopeful on his knees with little Joe's entire pinky in his mouth. Ain't gonna work, he thought. I'm not sure why I'm up there every night, but I'm grateful. And he endured the blonde wisp who called themselves groupies and the Harvard boys who slapped his back and identified but made sure he didn't meet their girlfriends. And then Phil sat back in his chair to slow his spirit down and cool it. Real good. That's all he heard, and at first he wasn't even sure that he heard it, so he ignored the sound. Yep, real good. And where else can a white boy from Milford be hooked like a fish and dragged into a conversation with a black man who wears the blues like an overcoat? Weepin' Willie was not actually weeping, but he looked at Phil with eyes as wide as he could get them, which meant he wasn't really looking at Phil at all. So they just kept facing the stage together in silence, watching some unfortunate son desperately clawing for his key. Willie wheezed a little when he breathed, but there was definitely delta in every in and out, and Phil listened to that and began to hum in spite of himself. And they sat, not looking at one another, composing a snippet of comfort and respect in a language ordinary people aren't supposed to understand, a language that hurts our eyes. This is the way one shade of blue talks to another. Willie was Willie that night, as Willie is always. Felt fedora tipped to shadow one dimming eye, suit sewn to flatter and shimmering on the surface, nails relentlessly manicured, gleaming and girlish long as befits a man of leisure and refinement. Smelling like sugar, and not even trying to turn away the ladies who buzzed around basking in the misery that rose like heat from his skin. Rising slow to take his place of honor on the stage, he rocked the old stuff with a bit of swerve in that aging hip, threw back his head a little on a lyric that moved him, and then sat down again next to Phil, who leaned over and squeezed that bony shoulder. Phil wanted to ask him things, but he didn't. Good set, Willie. Good set. They spoke maybe 10 words that night, most of them in silence. Willie envied the white boy his burning, even saw a little bit of old Willie in that soulful abandon. He was often heard to growl low, "That white boy sure can't sing." Phil wondered what to do with the guilt that comes from sipping at that deep history, gathering the qualifications he needed to be blue. They hummed and grunted, moaned low and spat single syllables at each other until the woman walked in, trying to stand tall but stumbling a little to reach the bar stool. Her red dress was painfully tight, and a circle of deep brown skin flashed through a gaping hole in her stockings. She scanned the bar, squinting at the bright light, then ordered up her first drink of the night. Phil noticed the tenseness in her back and said to himself, "Don't nobody come in here looking for love." Weeping Willie looked at the bar stool where she would spend the night and knew that he had one more reason to weep. We were sitting around. We used to have, get together and kind of write a show in the green room sometime, and just to be fresh and happy and everything. And we're sitting around one day talking about fame. You know, we're all getting older, and do we want to be famous or do we not want to be famous, and what does that mean, and the whole thing. And we all decided, yes, I want to be famous. So we started talking about what fame meant, and it inspired this poem. And all the names you hear in here are the band members. There was one guy who used to play guitar for us, and his name's in here. And I think that's all you need to know. It's like an 80-minute introduction to a 2-minute poem. Fame, Lil Joe, No Peanuts, band. Let's go. I love doing this. All right, I just start. Is that what you want me to do, guys? Back there looking at my butt. They don't know what they're doing. all stunned. Everybody on this stage dreams of being famous. We dream of nobly suffering that numbing, insane fame where we can't even get close to ourselves without an all-access pass. We like to be so famous that we walk down the street and folks just pass out. I, of course, have already achieved a reputation of note. I'm that Janet Reno, Whitney Houston, Aunt Esther, Hillary Clinton, glad I ain't her kind of famous. But the bottom line is, you ain't and I is. Famous works that way. Everybody on this stage, and I do believe I am famous enough to speak for everyone, wants to roll around in that stupid fame. We want to begin autographing skin. We want to sign tits, backbones, testicles. We want to change our names to unpronounceable symbols, become the artists formerly known as modest. We want to sputter foul words, be regularly resuscitated, try on diseases for the tabloids, publicly trash something holy, and thank Jesus, our mamas, and Jesus' mama on the MTV Video Awards. We can only hope to be obscenely famous. So famous that it's okay for us to sleep with anyone. The boys with the boys, the girls with the girls, married, virginal, underage, Lebanese, willing, unwilling, maybe something cute with 4 legs, because we will be famous enough to break the rules of the world and make everybody else wish they could too. We will lie about our ages, our backgrounds. We will tell anyone who asks that we grew up rich and rebelled, grew up poor and excelled, grew up in heaven and got the hell out. We dream of being so out-of-the-box famous that Al Sharpton organizes a march against us and then asks us to march in it. So famous that somebody attempts to assassinate us or kidnaps us and threatens to snip a body part off every hour until we tell them what it takes to be so famous that some pimply-faced kid in Booty Wiggle, Idaho plays our record backwards and picks up a gun. We got big, huge dreams. Everybody on this stage wants the lights to go down and the fireworks to start, and we want the stage to start dramatically rising up like we're Kiss, up like the Who, up like the funkified mothership. We want pyrotechnics and lasers and dry ice and exploding guitars, and we want to drool and dribble and spit like the Rolling Stones, but Lord, don't let us get that old. And Jim wants a fucking drum solo that lasts till Christmas, and we want da 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 to play when we come on, and we want da 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 to play when we leave. And Steve, whose dreams are smaller because he's from Canada. Steve wants to smash his guitar over someone's head, maybe even his own head, and not get in trouble for it. And Josh dreams about playing that bass so hard that his fingers bleed and the blood drips onto the floor at his feet, and the next day every newspaper in the world has a front page picture of just the blood on the floor at his feet above the caption, Josh. And Phil wants to pull in a long silver breath and open his mouth and unreel a blue note that strikes people blind. He wants you to be willing to sell your soul for the soul he serves you. You must crave him continuously. and he dreams of opening his mouth. Open your mouth. Okay. And stars spilling out, big sparkly pointy things that defy understanding and light up the night sky. Oh, he wants to be irrepressibly famous, #1 on the hit parade. He wants Dick Clark not to get old and die before hearing the best he's ever heard. Phil, dare we say it, Phil wants to get so crazy famous that he's invited on stage at the Cantab to sing Peanuts with the legendary Little Joe Cook. And sometimes during the song, Little Joe says, "Take it, Phil!" Phil longs for the day he'll be famous enough to know what it means to call a woman a cheeseburger or a hamburger or any kind of sandwich, whatever. My boys dream big. They want to be canonized like Tupac, misunderstood like Cobain, smelly like Jim Morrison, mowed down like Lennon. They want adoration, unleashed worship, groupies, caviars, and chitlins in the green room, bigger paychecks, bigger perks, bigger peanut. Me? I dream of writing one word, one single word, that will hurt you, arouse you, cramp your style, kiss you deeply, celebrate you, encourage you, get your panties in a bunch, insult you, sting you, rinse you clean, cage you, make you rant, make you think about it, play with you, sicken you, make you giddy, make you come, intoxicate you, vilify you, make you lean forward in your seat. No, make you lean forward in your life, waiting for me to actually say the word. And then, like the fool I am, I will say, thank you. Thank you all very much. Oh, shit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all very much. This has been wonderful. I want to introduce the band. This is Jim Weston on drums. Joshua Kare on bass, or what was, and Philip Pemberton on vocals. And me, I'm Diana Ross. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
And one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to talk business. I know we all just had a good time, but we've just completed a CD. It's actually being produced right now. It's being duplicated. What we do have for you, if you're interested, if you like what you heard tonight, we have actually many of the pieces we did tonight along this CD. You can advance order the CD. We'll give you a little flyer. You can fill it out. Pay for it. We give these away? But just come see me after the show if you like what you heard. Thank you all.